Hi, I'm Mashur Anam. Welcome to another episode of Weekly Magic Tips. Today, let's play with the idea of recognizing patterns or noticing the flow of energy and information. When we deal with consciousness and when we're talking about tuning into objects or foods or vegetables or crystals or tuning into options that might be beneficial for you. Sometimes you can wonder, especially if you're not sure how to notice the energy or information or patterns, that how do you notice the flow? And I hear it often that I don't see energy or information. I don't hear it. I don't, have a knowingness about it. Uh, I would say you can notice with all of your senses. There is usually a primary way of noticing. Sometimes there are multiple ways of noticing, but a lot of times you know how to notice things that are familiar to you, but you're not sure how to notice things or how to interpret the data that your brain is sending you about objects that are not necessarily familiar to you. Okay, so just close your eyes for a few seconds, and think about your home. Think about the outside of your home and what it looks like now. Now, most likely, you got a picture because you are familiar with your home. Otherwise, how do you know you have reached home? You're not matching your address every single day. You're not, using a GPS and waiting for the GPS to tell you that you have arrived. You can recognize the information. You can recognize the area. You can recognize your home. So you're recognizing information. You're recognizing structure. You're recognizing energy. You're recognizing a lot of things consciously and a lot of things unconsciously. So today, let's play with a few different types of objects. Now you can play or do some of these exercises with anything like crystals, gemstones, a glass of water, a magic wand, foods, vegetables. So for our exploration, and then we will play with a couple different objects today. I have them in front of me. One is an onion, and my eyes are kind of getting watery. And one is this heart made of wood. Now, why did I pick an onion? Because we all have tasted onion, I'm pretty sure, and we all know about onions. And you can your brain immediately pulls up different experiences about onion, especially if you have cut an onion ever in your life. So let's play with the onion first. So think about tuning into this onion. So what does that mean? So think about first just noticing the onion, whether you keep your eyes open or closed, it's up to you. And as you connect with the onion, so that means you're simply isolating the onion in front of you, then think about the question, if I could see the aura field, what would it look like? If you're not sure, and if you're not, or if you haven't noticed that your brain immediately displays something for you, you may just reject it or ignore it because you think that, okay, I'm just making up some picture in my mind, and unconsciously, that happens in a split second and we can disregard it. So just ask again, if I could see the aura field of the onion, what would it look like? And if you're not sure, you can imagine the onion glowing or lighting up in, let's say, rainbow color or a bluish white color or maybe orange color, red color. However it shows up for you is fine. Just in your mind, picture it. You don't have to necessarily see everything here, all the color, aura field, atomic structure. You can see it in your mind too. Because the moment you ask your brain a question, what would the aura field look like? The brain immediately will give you a response. It's like a search engine. You type a query in a search engine and you get results. So the thing that happens is often you're not sure if that's a right result because you have more of an expectation around what the right result is supposed to be, and that's why you ignore it, and you have been doing that all of your life. So now with these questions, what you can do is open up your senses more so that instead of filtering out the information, your brain will send you the data. So make up some image like a rainbow aura around it, and just in your mind or picture it that your onion has a rainbow around it, or red color around it. It's glowing in red, it's glowing in yellow, it's glowing in blue, purple, whatever. Make it up. The fun thing about making up something that may not be true is that at some point your brain kind of gets bored at you, and what it does is it shows you, or it feeds in a stronger way, the actual information about what it looks like and what it's supposed to look like to you based on your makeup and how you process information. And because it will say that, okay, you keep picturing the onion has a rainbow glow. It doesn't. This is what it looks like. So notice it. So you want your brain to do that to you. Then you can open up your senses more and start noticing crystals, gemstones, glass of water, and pretty much everything else, including what would be the energy of abundance look like for a particular option? What would the energy around the health and wellness look like for this particular fruit or vegetable versus something else? Because then it becomes really useful to you and for you helping your clients or family members or others, because now you can use that beneficial data to figure out what's an option that's good for you. Okay, great. So now let's ask another question. What does it taste like? Think about taking a bite of the onion, inside of it, not necessarily the skin. So just take a bite. If onions tasted like dark chocolate, I would have one every day. You probably would do the same. So notice or imagine yourself taking a bite and eating a piece of onion. By itself, it's not really yummy. Then think about the question, what does it smell like? Smell this onion. Your brain will automatically send you some information that has to do with smell of an onion. What does it sound like? That's an interesting question. But the onion has a sound. It has a sound harmonics because it's atoms in structure and atoms vibrate, and it's communicating with other groups of onions through sound harmonics too. It's communicating with nature through sound harmonics. So you can tune in to hear the sound or hear a buzz or hear a frequency. You can train your ears to help you hear those when it's beneficial for you. And again, for an onion, to be able to listen to an onion, it may not be useful, but it will be very useful to hear the frequency of love vibration with a person, or an abundance vibration of a company that you may be working for or working with. Does that resonate with you? So that's where you want to go. But this is a simple way to start. So start playing with different items and objects that way. Okay. Now, next, this is made of wood and a bunch of stones here, actually. So let's tune into this heart and ask similar questions. What does the aura field look like? Notice what immediately pops up in your mind, not necessarily around it, if you're not used to seeing the aura field, seeing doesn't mean things like shooting light is going to come out of it. It could mean that you have a holographic, structure or a 3D model that your brain is building, somewhere else, and it's projecting that information to you, and you have a knowingness or you have a sense that the aura field probably looks like this. The more you play with that energy and those questions, your brain will send you more data so you can start seeing the information. A lot of you who are not used to seeing, you want to see energy, you want to see information, you want to see codes, you want to see the chakras, the meridians, what food or information will be beneficial for you, what's not beneficial for you, what type of vitamins or supplements would be beneficial for you, so you want to be able to see all of that, you want to be able to see GMO versus non-GMO, so that you can make decisions that will be helping you and your family and others. But there are some systematic ways that I can tell you about how to open your senses more so you can notice more. So if you don't see or if you're not sure, then just make up a bright, shiny, glowing image of this in your mind. It doesn't have to be here, but just think that it's glowing in rainbow colors, or it's glowing in, let's say, one of these colors, or it's glowing in this wood color, or whatever you want to picture is fine. Allow your brain to, at some point, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, autocorrect you. Okay? So that's when more fun begins for you. Then tune in again and ask, if I could see the atomic structure of it, what would it look like? And immediately notice the very first answer your brain gives you. It has something to do with translating or interpreting the data and sending it back to you. What does it smell like? In your mind, smell it, or think about this in front of you, smell it. If I ask you about smelling a rose, then you will know immediately what that smells like because you're familiar with the smell. But the question is, how do you smell something that may not be familiar to you? So for that, your brain, you need to rely on your brain and your feel and your consciousness transmitting the data, because everything is connected. So regardless of where you are, even if you're on another planet, you can still smell it. It may not be exactly the same as smelling it, by holding it, because there are a lot of other variables that come in place, and then the environment is different. But you can get a sense. You can get a mathematical smell. That's what you get by asking some of these questions. So when you open up your senses more, you can play with this more. What does it sound like? Ask yourself that question. Notice the immediate response. Notice the tunes of the frequency your brain immediately sends you. You may automatically, discarding them. Don't just discard them, but just notice what information is presented to you immediately after you ask some of these questions. Okay, all right, so that's what I want to play with today. I will give you more examples about how to tune into abundance, how to look at an abundance matrix or a healing matrix, or play more with different types of energy and information. But this is just the beginning. So as you play with these energies, you can start to tune into these information, and then you can notice more. Okay, so start playing with this idea and start playing with a glass of water, different fruits, different vegetables, flour, things that you see from your window, just play with energy information and play with recognizing patterns of information of objects, and then you can build your senses more, and then the real fun begins, because then you can play more with information that will actually make a bigger difference in your life, like abundance, love, healing, relationship, alignment, what path is beneficial for you, or not. So those would make bigger differences in your life. However, in order for you to do that, start with some of these simple exercises. Okay. So thanks for watching. Take care. Have a magical rest of your day and rest of the month.